We'll untwist a bit of wire. Straighten that out. Straighten that out. Strip a bit off the end. About the same amount off the other end. Then on this guy, strip some off the end, strip some off the other end. And in each case, twist the wire. Just clipping some plastic off. So the blue is VCC, which is red. Now, again, we need some protection here. We'll take red and black. We need about half a length. Red goes on the red end. Black goes on the black end. Red goes to blue. And just twist these like this. And blue white goes to black. Make it a little easier, grip the wire, warm it up, back to the solder. As I say, I like to put a little solder on the iron itself, and that'll suck up into the wire, and then I touch the wire as it heats up. That's that one. By putting silver or solder on your iron, it'll conduct heat better. Turn off the soldering iron. Now, yeah, there's way too much wire there, so we'll clip off all but a little bit of it. Then we fold it this way. We may need to use pliers just to crimp it back on itself a little. And then slide the heat shrink down over it. And shrink that. And then what I didn't do is put on a piece of heat shrink to go over that. So to do that I'll need a larger one. I don't know whether this will be big enough or not. I'll cover up both of those joints with that. And yeah, it's hot, but you can squish it down a little there. Okay, there we go. Now, the part that I haven't figured out yet is how am I going to put these sensors in? They go under the track, but I'm going to have to drill a hole in the track, and I think that's a tomorrow job, doing the hole in the track. But that's now ready to go. Alright, now this next section here, all I'm doing is taking the enclosure that I've built out of foam board and trying to fit the components in it. And I'll start by just kind of doing the dummy, where will this go? How will each one go in? I'm still trying to figure that out. And the plan will be to glue it in. I'm wondering whether I should use hot glue or whether I should use white glue. And as I'm going through here and marking this out, I'm thinking about that at the same time. You can see I've already cut out a space in the middle for the light emitting diode 4-digit display to go in, so that's going to go in there okay. Now I figured that the keystone, when I put it in, I want it to go in at the side of this and glued in, so I can just easily plug the cable in. All I'm doing is taking an X-Acto knife and putting it in there, cutting it out so I can put it in there. The issue that I'm concerned about, though, is this is really tight quarters, and I need to make sure that I can put these devices in and they don't bump into one another. So I have the keystone in, I have the LED in it, and now I need to get the Uno Nano put in there. And again, it has a jack on the side for a USB connection, and I need to leave that open because if I ever need to reflash it, change the software for any reason, I need to be able to access it. And that's what leaving that open. What I found out, though, is because the foam board is, what is it, a 3/32 thick or whatever, when I try and put the Uno in there, the port doesn't go far enough through the foam board. It needs to stick out more so that the cable can connect securely. What that means is I have to carve out more of an area on the inside of the foam board, so remove the cardboard, remove the foam, but leave the outer layer of cardboard in place. That way the Uno will fit in there okay. You can see me pulling little chunks of foam out of there and trying it again, and I just keep playing through it. This is all just scratch built. I got a sheet of foam board, cut it out, figured out what kind of angle I want on the front so that when it's on the layout it can be read okay, and for that I just put it on the layout and tried it out. And this is the, not quite at the end result, but pretty close to. Now I'm making up cables that are going to go from here potentially all the way to there. I need a cable that's about that long. And as you'll see, we'll end up cutting off anything we don't use. So there's all the cable I need. into separate wires. I have 8 of them going to there, coming from here. So we're going to solder into here first, then we can punch them down onto here and that whole thing will slide in, and we'll have to have our 4 wires from here down to here. I don't know what we'll use for that wire yet. Got lots of I got like this stuff left over that I could use. Here's some more wires that I got left over. Different sizes. Here's another one I got left over. Yeah, so lots of potential there. First up though is soldering to here everything that I'm going to need. And that requires me to do a little cleanup here. Okay, this is where all these notes I took come in handy. Now, I've got in the display case, I've got a 5 volt and a ground and A4, A5. A4 and A5 are by themselves, that's fine. I can just take a couple of wires off of any of these guys and tie them together, because they're only going from here to there, so those are more than long enough. These are long enough, in fact longer. Probably use these. So I can do those. However, the 5 volt for the display has to be shared with the 5 volt for sensor 1 and sensor 2, and the ground has to be shared with the ground for sensor 1 and ground for sensor 2. Now, I'm going to cross over on here the ground and power. So I'll only have one ground coming from here, and it's either going to be orange white or brown white. I think we'll make it orange white. I think we'll we'll cross over the brown. What that means is here brown and brown white will cross to orange and orange white. Orange and orange white will come off here and have to tie into, what am I going to use for color here? I guess I could do orange and, I don't know, brown and red would make more sense as plus and minus. So let's undo these guys. Turn our soldering iron on. Let's remove these connectors. There's a little plastic clip. Just get under the plastic clip. That pulls off. Okay, now you're left with these little guys. So you can just snip them, because I'm not going to use the pins. Snip. Snip. Double check on my length from there to there. It's not great, but I think it'll work fine. Yeah, I need to for my sensor here, what's data, what's clock on these, is written on the other side, so I need to make a sketch of that. So if we go here like this, we go boinky, 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 this is the back. And so we have plus, minus, data, clock. Okay, so one of these wires has to reach from, see, plus minus on this are going to be ground is there, so that's an easy one. And plus 5 volts is over there, so that's both easy. And the other one are A4, A5, which are over there, so I got to reach from the middle of that up to there. Yeah, that's lots of room. Put that aside. So we're going to go with positive, which is orange. Here, let's strip the ends of these wires a little bit. It's a little more than I need. Okay, so positive is orange and red. So we twist them together tightly and we make sure that they'll go through the 5-volt hole. And they do. Perfectly. Negative / ground. Twist these guys together. Make sure they're going to go through the ground. They are. Okay, so what we now do, we invert this, bring in our holder, use the area that's not serrated, just hold the wire. That sits there on top like that. And we heat up the spot we need to solder. And you see I held up the guy there. Now we go through the other side, we make sure, yep, it's all in nice. We don't want that ugly wire there, so we snip off the end of that. And that is our 5 volts. Now we take a ground wire and it goes through the ground hole. Sure it all looks good there. Hold it in place. Now, personally, as I'm getting older, I'm getting less steady. So resting my hand on a piece of wood or something works well. Okay, so I don't know how well it'll show up. Anyway, if you look, you can see those are really nice solder joints. They're silvery, they're just, they've completely covered everything. They're fine. Okay, what else do we need to solder? Well, for our, I'm just going to make a note here. So positive on the LCD is red, and brown is negative.